Right guys and girls, my name is Mark Crossfield and today I'm talking about the 10 things I wish I knew as a beginner golfer. If you're starting this game or new to this game, here are 10 things that I wish I knew when I was in your position. Number one for me, and I put this out to my Twitter audience, and you can see the responses of many golfers who've been playing for a while, what they were saying. For me, take lessons. You just can't do that enough at the beginning for a few reasons. Lessons are great for so many reasons. Obviously there's the trying to get out of any of the bad habits, making sure grips aren't wild and setup is understood, and understanding how to present different lofts. All those kind of things are great. But the other thing lessons can really do for you is I used to love doing group lessons for beginners because I love the social aspect of it, which is so important in golf. Making sure that you're making the right friends and the community around you is supporting you and getting you out there and playing. Because the thing I noticed the most is that when people had a good circle of friends to play golf with, they play golf more. When people play golf more, they play better. Learn to play from the rough. Guess what? News headline, new golfers as well as accomplished golfers spend plenty of time in the rough. And what I noticed with beginner golfers, earlier golfers, is they get in these situations and literally have no idea what to do. They give you a few ideas of some benchmarks. There's a lot of grass around the ball. My 3-wood, my lesser lofted wood compared to say my 52-degree wedge here, have got very different chances of coming out or not. Understanding what lofts allow you to move the ball the furthest is just a key skill that beginners could spend so much more time at the start learning. It's a great way to understand how speed in your swing can really affect the shot. So this 130-yard shot, from the fairway, I would use 1 speed and relaxed speed with X club, but from the rough, I'm going to choose an appropriate loft and I'm going to put more speed in there. So I'm changing the loft of club, I'm changing how much speed I might apply. These are all things you need to start learning. You're going to spend time in the rough. Getting good at getting out of the rough and back into play is a massive skill all golfers need. Beginners more than anyone else, because often they're maybe in the rough a little bit more. Even to trying to understand patterns of aiming. So with the rough, I might tend to make the ball go a little bit left, so the grass might turn the club a fraction. So it's ideas like aiming out of the right side, putting that bit more speed in, moving plenty of grass out there and advancing that ball as far down as I can. Or even on some instances, if you're really good, onto the green. Practice out of the rough a bit more. Practice your putting. It's something that I see in beginners that often just isn't thought about enough. Lessons are about trying to get you to move your body. Often golfers think the fun is about whacking it in. It is, but if you can get some good, solid fundamentals, basics, understanding of the rules of putting and what you need to be, the skills you need to be good at in putting right from the beginning, they are skills that will allow you to keep growing as a golfer, to really keep the enjoyment levels up there. You see so many amateurs who have real struggles with putting as they go through their life, and this is for many reasons, but if you've got good understanding and control of pace control, you can read the greens well, you've got some relaxed level and control of the club face, which in putting is a leveler for all kind of brackets. A beginner in theory has the same amount of control or potential control of this over compared to a tour player who's swinging the club at 134 mile an hour, which just isn't going to be attainable for so many people. Keeping this skill from the start as an important skill you want to keep developing is a fantastic way to keep enjoying your game. One of the most neglected skills for beginners. Learn to hit your driver. This was always one of my biggest bugbears as a full-time coach, teaching lots of beginners and golfers who had just started, had a few lessons, come for lessons, and I would say, how's your driver? And they would say, well, I've never hit it, or that my coach doesn't let me hit it. Post in the comments down below if you had a few lessons, even as experienced golfers, and they just want you to hit the 7-iron, they're scared to really get you hitting that driver. I love getting my students hitting the driver as early as possible. Few reasons. One, it's really good fun. They like hitting the big stick and keeping it somewhere in play. So it's definitely, for me, a real go-to skill to get them working quick and hard and early. Second, if you can get your longer clubs in play, it's such an advantage. It gives you such an advantage over the other field who can't. So getting beginners to learn to enjoy, play the driver, and get it in play as much as possible is just, it's a must. Not enough beginners are doing it. They're really scared, and even some coaches are scared to jump in there with the big dog. Then the next thing, the next important one, which again I think is just missed in coaching, and certainly new golfers are scared to, learn to hit your driver hard. There's no point tapping a driver. Believe me, I've done it for years. Learning to hit it hard from the beginning, learning that you probably find your dispersion to how far offline it goes doesn't really change that much from hitting it at full pace compared to going to like 80%, which is often the belief. You might feel more secure, but if you break that security down early on, people get used to hitting it harder, they get a bit more distance out of it, and again, that's just an advantage. These things are on golf courses quite a lot as well. Trees, branches, you need to be better at some specialized shots. Can you hit one lower? Do you understand that if you hit less aloft, so I'm hitting an 8-iron rather than a wedge, which is the distance that this ball would go, like that's the club I would need. But if I hit my wedge, the ball's just gonna pop up and hit this tree. So understanding and practicing hitting specialized shots. So I'm gonna try and hit an 8-iron, or even looking in the situation, I'm changing down to a 7-iron. I'm also going to put the ball back in my stance, knock it a bit lower. These are all things that just sound really scary for new golfers, but the more I've worked with new golfers and get them to play with these situations, it helps them in every situation, because they start using the rules that they start learning, moving the club around, how the distances changes, how the ball rolls, the heights it goes, to actually get round in normal situations as well. These are things beginner golfers definitely shy away from. And there are things I certainly get my new golfer and my eldest daughter to try and practice as much as possible, not shy away. Lovely, running up onto the right side. Get some level and understanding of how to do specialized shots. Massive advantage for all golfers, certainly new golfers. Spend some time, more than most beginners do, on some real chipping basics. Simple skills. You need a median chip like that, just a standard chip that you'll use most of the time, but try and arm yourself with a nice low one, nice low 7-iron run idea, even a nice, a nice high shot with my most lofted wedge and playing around with it. These are things that I do with my beginner golfer in my family. It gives her more creativity, it gives her more fun to try different things. She has a stock standard, but she tries to go above that and below that in heights. These are really basic skills that will help beginners have more fun, lower their scores, get around in different situations. Definitely a pattern with beginner golfers that I see is that they tend to stick to one chip and are scared to play around with it. Don't be scared, you're out here to have fun. Super cheap for beginner golfers, even golfers that I've been teaching that have been playing for years still struggle in these situations. Learn how to get out of bunkers, also learn how much fun bunkers are. Good players enjoy the bunker, often would rather be in it than chipping around it. I've got bunker tips videos which I'll pop a link for maybe up there, but spending some time learning simply how to get out of bunkers, just constantly, every shot out, you won't believe how much trouble these cause golfers. And the thing that I found with beginner golfers, when you get them in the bunker early, they just love it. It's really good fun. Yes, it's frustrating at the start, and yes, it's a slightly different concept, trying to hit the sand, not the ball, being so close and taking quite big swings for the ball to not actually go crazy distances. Yeah, it throws them at the start and they hit some crazy shots, but if you get them comfortable in bunkers, it just puts you in such great stead going forwards with your golf, because you're going to get in them, and if you can't get out of them, it's a long old day. Beginners, learn to get out of bunkers. You can spend more time in here than you believe, and try to learn to enjoy them. They are fun. Learn some basic rules. And the reason I say this one is not to be some kind of, you know, there are some real rule bores out there in golf, and it's one of maybe the bigger problems with golf. But at the same time, the great thing with golf is that the rules are so clear. It's a bit like, I kind of compare it to driving on the road. We drive on the road in a relatively safe way because in theory we're all abiding to the same rules. So learning some basic rules of things like where you can tee the ball up and being in front and behind the tees. What happens if I hit one in the road here? These kind of things are going to happen. And the more comfortable you are just knowing some basic rules, the more it will allow you to feel comfortable at playing with different players and playing in different groups and widening that social circle which golf is so good at providing. Learn what happens when you do hit it in the ditch or the pond that we all hit it in, when the ball's plugged and those kind of things. Just some basic rules to get you around and make you feel comfortable when you're out here on the course. Just think back to when you were a learner driver. It was awkward, wasn't it? You weren't sure if you were doing things right or wrong, and it made you more anxious. If you're anxious on a golf course because you're not sure how you're going to play, having some basic understanding of the rules of play, I reckon it'll make you relax a bit more, have a bit more fun. The last one is one to keep in mind as a beginner golf, which I think is such a golden time of playing golf. I remember starting golf and it was just so much fun, learning these new skills, meeting these new people, being in these new places. Like, there was so much good about it. But something for the beginner golfers out there watching this video to keep reminding yourself as you become a non-beginner golfer is to keep reminding yourself what you're here for. And at the end of the day, you're here for fun. Trying to remember and remind yourself what the fun is that you're getting from your golf. So is it the improvement? Is it the meeting friends? Is it just the exercise? There's so many great things that golf can offer that allow you to have fun at many different levels. Remembering what they are, holding on, keeping that throughout your golfing life, because we definitely see a pattern of golfers getting a little disheartened with the game because it is tough. But again, it depends what you're playing it for. If you're playing it for the fun, remind yourself where that fun comes from and try and keep it in there. It'll make you play golf for longer, and again, just keep enjoying it. Let me know if this helps, let me know if this makes sense. Post comments down below. Remember, if you want to subscribe to the channel, do hit that bell icon if you're already subscribed, and give it a thumbs up if any of the tips are helping you as your beginner golfer. Good luck, everybody.